There's something profoundly disorienting about watching someone with half your intellect, half your education, and none of your introspection. Pull up in a car twice your salary. And no, this isn't envy speaking, it's existential confusion. Because somewhere deep in our collective psyche, we were told a story, that intelligence wins, that hard work, reason, and critical thinking are the staircase to success. And yet we scroll past influencers mumbling nonsense with brand deals worth more than tenured professors. We see CEOs who can barely string a coherent sentence together make decisions that alter the lives of millions. We're told to trust the system, but the system seems to reward something far less noble than intelligence. It rewards boldness, it rewards risk, and, disturbingly often, it rewards ignorance wrapped in charisma. Let's rewind. Not to blame, not to mock, but to understand. A study from Sweden followed 59,000 men over decades, matching their earnings with their intelligence scores from military aptitude tests. The results? Yes, smarter people earned more, but only up to a point. Beyond a certain income level, around $64,000 a year, the curve flattened, and then reversed. In the top 1%, people with lower IQ scores started earning more than those with higher ones. It sounds absurd until you remember that intelligence isn't the only engine that drives economic success. In fact, it might not even be the primary one. Think of it this way. The smartest people often end up in fields that prioritize truth over profit. They become researchers, scientists, academics. Their currency is integrity, not monetization. But those professions, though prestigious, rarely pay enough to buy the penthouse or the private jet. Meanwhile, the marketplace doesn't reward depth. It rewards scalability. It rewards whoever can turn a message into money, not necessarily those who speak the deepest truths, but those who shout the loudest and sell the fastest. It's not that intelligence isn't valuable, it's that the economy isn't structured to value it first. Now here's where it gets interesting. You'd think people with high intelligence would dominate the business world, but that's not always the case. Why? Because intelligence, when paired with self-awareness, often leads to caution. Smart people are aware of risk. They calculate. They hesitate. They see the 100 ways something can go wrong before even making the first move. That's the paradox. The smarter you are, the more clearly you can see the wall, and the less likely you are to crash through it. Meanwhile, someone less intelligent but more ambitious often doesn't see the wall at all. So they run, they launch, they leap, and sometimes they win. Not because they outthought the system, but because they didn't overthink it in the first place. Nietzsche once said, "Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages it is the rule." Our economy is a collective madness, a swirling machine of luck, timing, noise, and narrative. To succeed in it, you don't have to be the most rational player. You have to be the one who moves, the one who believes, even especially when belief defies evidence. That's why average intelligence can be a strategic advantage. It allows just enough reasoning to function, but not enough to be paralyzed. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the comfort trap. Smart people often find success early in traditional systems. Good schools, high SATs, scholarships, competitive jobs. It's a clean path. It's safe. And it comes with praise. But comfort is a sedative. When you're already earning well, it's harder to risk everything to chase millions. Why leave a $150,000 job in corporate law to launch a startup that might fail in 6 months? You'd need either desperation or delusion. Most smart people have neither. They settle, and so they stall. Meanwhile, someone with less to lose and fewer prestigious options sees entrepreneurship as the only way out. They're not stepping down from comfort. They're leaping towards something better. That risk tolerance, born not from strategy but necessity, often yields the massive rewards. But let's not romanticize this either, because here comes the survivorship bias. For every average guy who makes it big, there are thousands who tried and failed. We don't hear their stories. We don't scroll past their bankruptcies. Their silence doesn't trend. So we create a false myth that being slightly dumb but highly ambitious is the formula for wealth. It's not. It's just that we only count the survivors, and many of them by sheer statistical gravity fall into the average IQ range, not because average intelligence causes success, but because there are simply more of them, taking more swings and occasionally hitting gold. Carl Jung would call this a shadow inversion. We project our disillusionment onto the world and label it unfair. But it's not the world that betrayed us. It's the story we were told. The belief that meritocracy is clean, that the mind is king, that truth rises to the top. But in real life, value is chaotic. Visibility beats nuance. Confidence beats competence, at least in the short term. Camus might say this is the absurdity of modern life. We are Sisyphus pushing our intellect uphill, only to be passed by someone who took the elevator of virality. So where does that leave you? If you're watching this, you're likely a thinker, a questioner, maybe even someone who's wondered, why do I know so much yet have so little? Here's the bitter truth. You can't copy the traits of someone in the top 1% and expect the same results. You can mimic their schedule, their diet, their mindset. But if you ignore who you are, if you lie to yourself about your strengths and weaknesses, then you're just playing dress-up with other people's destinies. Want to be rich? Don't start with income goals. Start with self-honesty. What are you actually good at? Not what you wish you were good at. Not what your parents want you to be good at. What are you exceptional at, and what market values that? Maybe you're not a genius. Maybe you're not a visionary. But if you can execute like hell, if you can sell, connect, endure, you may not need to be the smartest. And if you are smart, painfully, paralyzingly smart, your work is to train your courage to match your intellect, to risk looking foolish, to fail fast, to let go of the need to always be right. Because the world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. There's an old quote source unknown that goes, the A students work for the B students, the C students run the companies, and the D students own the buildings the companies are in. It sounds like a joke, but it hides a philosophical wound. In a society obsessed with appearances and shortcuts, true intelligence often hides behind humility. And humility doesn't shout, it whispers. That's why the wise are often invisible, and the loud become leaders. So don't envy the fool who got rich. Don't dismiss them either. Instead, ask what part of you is still waiting for the world to recognize your worth without asking for it. Ask where your mind is holding your life hostage, and ask what it would take to finally let go of the illusion that being smart is enough, because it isn't. Not in this world. Not in a world where the dumb sometimes win. Not in a world that rewards momentum over meaning. Not in a world that doesn't care how many books you've read unless you know how to turn them into a story that sells. You don't have to abandon intelligence, but you do have to evolve it, marry it with action, temper it with humility, fuel it with risk. And maybe then, maybe you'll realize that the true divide isn't between smart and dumb. It's between the ones who act in spite of doubt and the ones who wait to feel certain. Only one of them gets paid. If this video sparked something in you, a thought, a question, or even a contradiction, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next dive into life's paradoxes. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.